Hello and welcome back to my bug out bag series of videos. Our first one we did packs and shelters. This one here we're going to move on to water, food, and fire. Tie fire in there. Obviously at some point if we need to purify more water we might want to boil it, and obviously we need to cook some food. Alright, so we'll start off with the water. If you remember from the rule of threes, the rule is a person can't go more than 3 days without water. Now, just like everything else, that's a general rule. Obviously there's stories out there of people that have gone much longer than that in certain circumstances, and in the case of some people that do survival shows on TV, over the years their body has become somewhat acclimated to operating without a good recommended daily intake of water. So those are all things you need to think about. In your everyday life, water is no more than the faucet or water fountain away, or bottle of water at the convenience store. It's always around. Comes to bug out time though, you're going to want to have some on you and have the ability to make more. So keeping things simple. For water while I'm on the go, I got a 3-liter water bladder in my pack, obviously with the drinking tube sticking out, so as I'm moving I can keep sipping on water. Also in my pack I've got a 40-ounce stainless steel water bottle. This one happens to be from Clean Canteen. Now there's some other ways you can go. You can get the regular Nalgene bottles. You can carry just regular bottles of water. I know they even make like Mylar packets of water specifically for packing in a bug out bag. I don't think you really need to go that direction with things, especially buying the packs of water. You can load up your own water beforehand. It's easy to store. There's really no reason to buy that other stuff. Obviously another route you could go are the military canteens, but there's a reason why I go with the stainless steel. I'm only carrying about a day's worth of water. You figure a gallon of water per person per day, that's for drinking and cooking. Alright, so between the water bladder and the water bottle, I've got about a day's worth of water. Now in my particular neck of the woods, I've got springs and creeks and ponds and lakes all over the place. So even if I'm traveling cross country, I'm never more than a mile or two away from a water source. With that being said, once I'm out I need to purify more, and I like the stainless steel bottle simply because I can fill it up from the water source and boil it and I'm good to go. So that's why I like that. Now there's going to be times when your security situation may not be the best and you want to avoid fire for a period of time, but you need to purify more water. Now we discussed this in one of the other Facebook posts. You can carry iodine tablets, the water purification tabs, or even liquid iodine for water purification. You can even carry a small bottle of bleach. One of the easiest ways, and what I actually prefer for a couple of reasons, and I'll explain them, is carrying a filter straw. This particular one is the Aquamira Frontier Pro, and it's got a few different attachments with it. One is a straw that just hooks onto the end, and I can simply drink it straight from the water source, or fill up my water bottle and drink out of there. The other thing you can do instead of attaching the straw is just simply attach the drinking tube from your water bladder. You take the end off that comes with it and put this on the end. I can fill up the water bladder and drink out of it just like I would from the water source. Alright. What I also carry in this pouch is a few coffee filters, and what I do with the coffee filters is put them over the fill hole of the water bladder or over the top of my water bottle when I'm filling it up from a water source, especially if it's not the clearest water in the world. And what that'll do is take out the heavy stuff. It's obviously not going to take care of the bugs like Giardia and whatnot. That's what the boiling is going to take care of, and the filter. But it will keep the heavy algae and suspended mud and silt and whatnot that might be in the water. The other thing you can do is simply carry a bandana or a shamog and use that as your pre-filter. Now, one of the other things we discussed in the post is making a water filter, and it's very easy to do. I'm not really going to demonstrate it in this one, but using like a 2-liter water bottle, you cut the bottom, or you cut the top off. I'm sorry, let me back up. Cut the bottom off. You drill a hole in the cap and put the cap back on, and then what you want to do is use a coffee filter or a clean sock or something like that down in the bottom, and then you're going to put a layer of charcoal, then a layer of sand, and then a layer of gravel. And what you want to do with the layers is go from the largest to the smallest as you layer it in there. So what you want to have is the water flowing through progressively smaller porous material, and that'll filter out the heavy stuff and even take care of most of the intestinal bugs that might be in the water. All right, so now that we've got the water taken care of, one of the other rules of 3, if you remember, is no more than 3 weeks without food. Now, with that being said, hopefully you've got a plan, you've got a bug out location, preferably multiple bug out locations that you're going to head to should things start going bad. To plan for those things, if you think about it, if you're going to jump in your vehicle and go, that's great. What you got to think about is at some point it may become impossible to use your vehicle. Roads may become impassable, your vehicle might break down, whatever the case may be, so you may end up on foot. And what you got to think about is if it takes you, let's say, an hour to drive from your house to your preferred bug out location, if you had to leave your house on foot, that's going to translate into anywhere from 3 to 5 days depending on the terrain. All right, so you need to keep that in mind. What that also means is you're going to be burning a lot of calories. Now, the 3 weeks without food is basically, in reality, a person staying in place. They're, for whatever reason, they're stuck in place, they don't have anything, and you can go roughly 3 weeks without food. We're not staying in place. We're burning calories, and we're burning major calories because we're traveling cross country. So after the first day or two, if you're not taking something in, you're steadily going to start declining. Your mental capacity is going to start getting a little shaky. You're obviously going to have hunger pains. You could even get a little bit nauseous. Your blood sugar levels are going to drop, obviously, because you're not bringing those in, and you got all of those symptoms coming along with it. So we need to think in terms of high calorie and lightweight, because obviously we don't want to be carrying any more weight than we have to if we're going cross country. So there's plenty of options out there. Some of them are better than others, but if we're thinking lightweight and high calorie, obviously the first thing that pops into most people's minds are going to be military MREs, or say the freeze-dried backpack food. Now, those are both decent options. They're good calorie-wise, they're fairly lightweight, but if you think about it, if you're going to carry 3 days worth of either one of those, it's going to take up a huge portion of your pack. So what I've come up with is a way to get 3 days worth of food in a gallon Ziploc bag. All right. So what I've done here to get about 2,000 calories a day, which a person of my size, that's really minimum, but it's going to keep me going. I figure 3 ramens a day. All right. That's going to be a couple of ramen at lunch and one at dinner, or vice versa, one at lunch and two at dinner, whatever the case may be. But what I've done then is taken 9 of them, pulled them out of the package, set their flavor packets off to the side, and I crunched them up, and that all 9 of those crunched up will fit into a gallon Ziploc bag. Obviously I need something to start the day with, so the other high calorie lightweight option are the instant oatmeal packs, and taking their calorie content into consideration, I figure 3 of those a day. So in another Ziploc bag I put the 9 oatmeal packs along with the flavor packs from the ramen, and you can't really see them, but I've also thrown some cocoa mix in there too, just to give us a little sugar boost in the morning time. So right there is 3 days worth of food that's basically maybe just slightly larger than 1 MRE. Okay, so if we were packing 3 days worth of MREs calorie wise, that would be 6. Calorie wise, 2 MREs a day will take care of you. So you can either carry this or carry 6 of these. Up to you. I just think that this is a better option. All right. Now there's other things you can think about. Obviously dried beans and rice. The only kicker with those is they take a little bit longer to cook. Not so much the rice, but the beans. And you can buy those pre-packaged. Another one to consider, good high calorie in a small container, is something like peanut butter. Maybe bring some honey along with it. Honey actually would serve double duty. Not only would it be, you know, a source of calories and sugar, but it's also, it will never go bad, and you can serve double duty with it in your first aid kit. All right, on shallow cuts and lacerations, you can actually put some honey on there as an antibacterial. That's why it doesn't go bad. Bacteria won't grow in it. Okay, so that's kind of some of the food options. But again, if I want to boil some water, or if I want to cook my food, then I need fire. So we'll talk about fire a little bit. All right, obviously, if you want some instant flame, the easiest thing to do is just carry a big lighter. All right. I would suggest a color that you're not going to drop on the ground and lose, such as the orange one here. And obviously it gives you instant flame. Get your fire going. Now, sometimes in your pack or in your pocket or wherever you're carrying it, it might push the button and you run out of fuel. No big deal, because it's still giving us a good spark, right? But we need something to catch that spark in. So a simple thing you can do at home is just take some cotton balls and soak them in Vaseline, get them coated real good in Vaseline, and stuff a bunch of them into an old pill bottle. All right, and all you have to do then to get your fire going is pull one of these out, fluff it up a little bit, get to some of the cotton on the inside, and it'll catch your spark, and the Vaseline will help fuel it along a little bit, and a single cotton ball will burn for about 2 minutes. All right, so plenty of time to get your fire going. That's a good homemade way of doing things. There are some commercial options out there, and the one I carry on my sheath knife on my hip, I got them in a little Altoids tin just to kind of protect them. These ones are called Quick Tender, and you can actually buy these at outdoor stores, say Dick's or something like that, REI, Bass Pro. And again, what these are, simply a cotton ball that's been compacted and dipped in wax. So again, all you do is fluff these out, get it fluffed up real good, and they come with a thumb striker. And all it really is a big lighter without the fuel container. It's just a thumb striker. So that's a good lightweight commercial option that you can carry on you. There's other ones out there too. There's the Wet Fire. They come in little packets, and you pull one of those out, and it's almost like one of the fuel tabs. It actually burns for quite a while. So there's some commercial options out there, but again, the easiest route to take is simply make you some cotton balls with Vaseline. All right. Now another route to go, you can buy these, this probably looks familiar to most people, is a magnesium bar with a striker on it. In this case, I lost the striker that came with it, so I put a saber saw blade on there. It gives me a little saw blade for whatever reason, plus I can use it. I would have to take it off the chain, so I'll use a set of them. But anyway, what you do with these is scrape a pile of magnesium down in the center of your tender bundle, about the size of a dime, and then strike your spark into it, and the magnesium will flame up and get your tender going. If you notice, I pull this one out of I carry this one on my sheath, and this is the same thing, just a smaller version. It's got a magnesium bar and a striker on it, so the same kind of idea there. Another good one, I like things that are multifunction. In this case, we got a knife made by a company called Light My Fire in conjunction with Mora. For the budget-minded, it's really hard to beat a Mora knife. I think most of these knives will go anywhere from, say, $10 to about $20, depending on the style Mora knife you get. They hold a very good edge. They're high carbon steel. They're very tough. As small as they look, these things will last a lifetime. But in this case, they've gone in conjunction with the Light My Fire company, and they've actually got a ferro rod built into the handle. And again, I can set up my tender bundle using my cotton balls and strike a spark in there and get my fire going. Alright, so we got our fire going. We still need some way to cook our food, okay? So container wise for cooking, one of the easiest is just have the nesting cup that goes with the steel water bottle. Just a simple stainless steel cup. Put a cup of water in there, dump your ramen in, set her down and cook it up. The other way you can go, especially if you're cooking for a family or a group, is to have a simple little pot, such as this. And especially if you start cooking the larger meals or whatever, this would come in more handy. The other good thing about something like this, with the lid on it cranked down, obviously you can use it for storage, right? You can carry your fire kit or whatever else in here, make it really nice, keep it protected, keep it from getting crushed. Now you can simply start a little open fire, maybe set you up some rocks to set your cup on, but a good lightweight option I like is a twig stove. All right, this particular one is the titanium stove from Vargo, and I haven't used this particular one yet, but I've got their stainless steel version. I use it all the time. And in here, again, got me another way to light a fire. Got a ferro rod and a P38 can opener as the striker. But back to the stove. So the stove comes out. And it just kind of rolls around, and boom, my stove is set up. You'll notice it's got some vent holes in the bottom, and all I would have to do, put my tinder bundle, my cotton ball in there, have a handful of some smaller than pinky sized twigs for fuel, and I can set my cup on there and I can have me a cup of water boiling in about 3 minutes. Okay, very simple stove to use. Now again, because fire, especially smoke, may not be the best thing in your security situation, another thing I carry from the same company is their Decagon alcohol stove. Now there's plenty of YouTube videos out there. You can make your own alcohol stove out of pop cans and whatnot, but this one is made out of titanium. It's never going to fail. It's never going to get crushed. And the beauty of it is it's actually sized to use in conjunction with this. So I've got a windscreen, or it is made to be used by itself. It's got some little risers on there, so you can just set it on the ground and set your pot or your cup right on top of it. You'd have to set up some kind of windscreen though, obviously. Now, keep in mind with the alcohol stove, obviously, I got to carry some alcohol. So I've got a small container of that. This is enough to cook about 9 meals. I've figured out through trial and error with this alcohol stove. So I get about 9 meals out of there. And that's one of the things I would think about as I'm moving, foraging as I go, is coming across some more alcohol to fuel that. And the beauty of these is you can use just about any kind of alcohol, including some good old grain alcohol. Moonshine, Everclear, whatever you want to call it, will actually work in there. Another source that people might overlook is the bottles of fuel additive, such as heat. Those are methyl alcohol. Those will burn in here just as well. All right. A cheaper option to these that's a little bit heavier are it's the pocket cooker, they call it, from a website called Sportsman's Guide. All right. I've used it. I've used the pocket cooker. It's a really good item to have, but where this one only weighs about, if I remember right from the website, only weighs like 6 ounces. The pocket cooker is more like 1.5 pounds. So again, if we're thinking about weight, and you got the funds for it, the titanium Vargo is almost $40. You might want to go with that. Okay. Some other options are simply cans of like Sterno, and I know they make a folding stove for those, so you can think about that. They also make from a company called Esbit, and I know you can buy these at Walmart and Dick's and outdoor stores and whatnot. The folding Esbit stoves that use the solid fuel tabs. So those are good options. Now, once we get our food cooked up, obviously it's nice to have something to eat with. In this case, I got a titanium silverware kit with a spoon, a fork, and a knife. You don't have to go all out with that. I only did it for weight with all three. Again, these are just a fraction of what normal silverware would weigh. But really, just grab a stainless steel spoon out of your kitchen drawer. That's really all you need, especially if you're going with the Rana. Now, bug out bags, again, are typically set up just to get you from point A to point B. They're only set up for a short period of time, but you could find yourself stuck along the trail somewhere for whatever reason. Yourself is injured, hopefully not, but there could be another person in your group injured, whatever the case may be, and the food starts running low and you want to supplement. So a real easy thing to do is to just get one of these pocket tackle boxes and just put you a spool of fishing line, some jigs, some hooks, some sinkers, some bobbers, something you can fish with. All right. Make sure you have a couple jigs in there in case, like this time of year, worms and bugs and whatnot are just now starting to come out. So it might be a little bit hard to find bait. Good idea to have some jigs in there. Because I got some extra room, this also contains some snare wire. All right, for those of you that know how to set up snares for small game. And I've also got some spear points for making frog gigs and hunting spears, obviously. And I also carry a few needles in case I need to use the fishing line for some sewing repairs. Okay, so that pretty much covers the food and water and fire. Next one, we'll start going over some of the tools and some of the instruments we'll use to facilitate everything we've talked about so far, such as setting up shelter and food and water collection and whatnot. So until next time, stay safe and practice, practice, practice. Thanks.